Right. Hi. Office 365 SharePoint Setup Administration Guide. About this guide, introduction to SharePoint sites, team site, websites, personal sites, site structure, choosing a site structure, access, navigation, administration, access, SharePoint, and Office 365 navigation site, navigating sites, setting up, adding SharePoint sites, creating, using sites using RM site creator creating sites using SharePoint, adding subsites in SharePoint, customizing sites, adding a page using web parts apps, built app apps, waterpart, web parts, adding app to site, adding web parts to app, content to a page, adding web parts and app parts in the page, adding web parts and app parts, deleting an app or web part, using library, document libraries, picture libraries, other libraries, using new feeds, using a link list, using survey alerts, using templates, saving templates, using save templates, exporting import templates, permission groups, giving permission level to users, editing permission, creating custom permission levels, using approvals and versions, configuration, documentation, approval versions, publishing, public website, save or publish page and version history, configuration, publish in a site. About this guide. This guide was written in the new network administrators who set up and manage Microsoft Office 365 and SharePoint at a school and college establishment. It gives instruction for setup, managing, using a school team site to carry out the task. That in this guide, you need to have an appropriate administrative access to Office 365 account. SharePoint is a powerful software platform which many features which are beyond the scope of this guide. Further help is available via the help icon on the SharePoint menu. The RM Site Creator provides a simplified way to do additional sites and pages using templates. In the establishment of the RM Site Creator, you may refer to the RM Site Quick Start Guide for some instructions rather than following the procedures described here for the powerful navigation native SharePoint tools. Nevertheless, there's much useful information for all SharePoint users and guides. Alright, introduction to SharePoint. SharePoint is a platform that makes it easy for people to organization to make a website, collaborate on work, simplifying administrative, providing a central repository of documents and resources. Because SharePoint is not an application but a platform, then think Office instead of Word, Excel. It isn't easy to define, but its purpose briefly. Broadly speaking, it can offer school, colleges, establishment these different kinds of benefits. Bulletin 1, communication. SharePoint makes it easy to create websites. These can be personal photos, personal portfolios, workspaces, shared teams, schools, intranet sites, public websites that anyone can see. You can easily create and maintain consistent style and branding across the site. Collaboration. SharePoint helps people to share, collaborate on documents. Students, teachers, non-teaching staff, governors can each of the work, assignment, plans, report, other tasks of the team. Okay, so you have communication, collaboration, storing information. SharePoint libraries provide a convenient repository for all types of content and secure all access restricted to the appropriate groups and individuals, replacing paper documents, procedures. Students and teachers, non-teaching staff, governors can access the resources they need to anywhere and anytime. Searching. SharePoint provides a flexible searching tool which can be used across the establishment resource subject to access security controls appropriate to each user. Combining information, SharePoint webs bring together information from the different sources to play to customize dashboard summaries, providing insights for the management team, developing network flows and application. SharePoint is very extensible. Using SharePoint in this way the best suits your establishment and gives you the wide range of choices. SharePoint sites. SharePoint sites are constructed within the hierarchy. Subsites can be inherit permission, resources, security settings from a parent site, making it easy to create new sites quickly. Usually a site template created from the parent site. The subsite can also inherit visual styles, page layouts. Thus, you can maintain consistent styles, policies, and apply any changes efficiently. The top level of the hierarchy is the site collection. Each site collection can have only its own database security model. There's always one top-level root site for the site collection under which you can build a hierarchy. Subsites you can think the school site collection at the building and sites if it's different rooms of the building. Team site, websites, and personal sites. When you begin, the SharePoint Online site includes two main sites collection: the team site and the website, also referred to as the public site. The team site is an internal site designated for collaboration, perfectly your school site. Use it to store, to share documents, post internal announcements, chat, tasks, store information and lists, so on. It includes ready-made templates to create subsites with team sites, for example, a team blog or a social workspace for organizing an event. When a SharePoint Online site is created, the default site collection is the tenancy name .sharepoint.com, which is created in the team site. Alright, the website is designed for a public internet presence, good for a school website and members of the public looking for information, including prospective parents. The SharePoint Online site is created with the default section. Collection is created automatically for the public sites, tenancy name /public SharePoint.com. Personal sites are useful workspaces, individual organization. They include usual features for organizing documents and links, networking with others. When your SharePoint Online site is created, the default site collection is created automatically. The person site's tenancy my SharePoint, which includes 25 gigabytes of personal storage space on SkyDrive, web apps, and news feeds. Site structures. Choosing a site structure. There's no right or wrong way to create the sites, but before you create a school site, it's sensible to decide a basic structure that will be clear to users, easy to maintain. A general guideline: do not let structure get more complicated than it needs to be. Do not let structure get too deep. The deeper it gets, the more potential confusion there will be to inherent of permission from level to level. Permission and inheritance is on page 36. Here are a few examples: school year, registration group, subject, class, staff, and then school, staff, and subject. The ORM site collector uses one of the default site structures. Each of the years use both in registration groups and subsites. This gives it a nicely stable structure. The top level is uniquely unlikely to change. If the teaching subject is added or removed, only the lower level is affected. There are no subject-wide sites for students who will find the resources for all their different subjects in the same part of the site. However, it does not matter much to the subject given with a different name in different years. For example, the environmental science and biology rather than science. Additional sites, e.g. governors, can be added. They can also be created either the same site selection in their own. Subject in the year in the class, subject year in the class, or subject year in group registration, and subject staff. For the RM site creator, this user another default site structure. The top category is subject. Choosing a subject brings up the menu of the year groups in which the subject is taught. There is also staff site, the subject organizing the information logically. The site convenient to the store for that staff on the teach of the particular subject. The student then visits different parts of the site to refine resources different subject. If there is a change in subjects offered, the top level on the site may also have a change in perhaps the page layout too. Think carefully about the labels, the subject names. If the subject is not obviously for each course title. Another site for governors could be added. These can be created either with the same site collection in one or the other. School year, group, and staff and all governors. School, subject, staff, and governors. You may prefer to keep this structure very simple. For easy primary school, you can use this only a subsite for each of the group and class, and the staff forms the governor if required. In a secondary school, you must use only subsites for subject and staff and governors, with different pages of subject sites provided with the areas and groups and years. Alright, access, navigation, administration, access to SharePoint Office 365. SharePoint administration acts performed in several different areas. Site administration tasks are performed from the site's menu on the Office 365. Most of the SharePoint administration tasks are performed in the SharePoint Administration Center in Office 365. Security group management tasks are performed in Office 365 Administrator. Follow these instructions that apply to you. If you're not using the RM Unify, open the web browser, enter the HTTP portal info.microsoftonline.com. Enter the full email address password of the global administrator account for the establishment of the Office 365 tenancy. If using the RM Unified log or the RM Unified, entering the RM Unified user and password. Note, to access SharePoint Administrator, see Step 3. Your user may have been granted to the Office 365 Administrator role, Global Administrator role. The RM Unified Administrator are not automatically made Office 365 Global Administrators. If you need to create or manage a site, choose Sites from the Office 365 menu. The top left area lets you enter the enter and share profile information. The right side of the page gives you quick access to sites that you can manage and sites that you're following. The plus new site links and can be used to create new web subsite. See also adding subsite on page 10. Alright, to access the SharePoint Administrator, choose the SharePoint from the Administration menu. To access SharePoint Administrator, choose SharePoint from the Administration menu. On the left-hand pane, list the main administration options. When you choose an option, left-hand pane, center pane displays an appropriate information controls your selection. For example, if the site collection option is selected, you could start creating a new site collection if you required clicking a new on the site collection ribbon. You would also use the area if needed to clean the content for the existing site collection for reuse or RM site creator. Alright, Global Administrator User Management Administration can be managed by Office 365 Security Accounts and Office 365 Administrator. These recommended approaches to manage SharePoint users see permission groups in a section starting with 35. For administration menu, choose the Office 365. From the left panel, choose User and Groups, then select the Security Groups and tab. From here, you can manage the Office 365 Security Groups. See page 40. Alternatively, if you want to manage Exchange Security Groups, click the text link Manage Security Groups in Exchange. Navigation of the site. When you have selected a site, your SharePoint ribbon gives you the access to commands and tools. If you can see the ribbon, click Edit. The SharePoint ribbon in the tab SharePoint ribbon is just below the Office 365 toolbar. The navigation layout is very similar to used in recent versions of Word and Microsoft other applications. When the tabs are displayed, depending on what you have selected, for example, on the site pages that you're browsing and page tabs, both documents are listed on the tabs and browsers, file, and library. Okay, click the tab. You access the ribbon controls from the function which create related controls grouped together in a ribbon. The Browse tab is an exemption to this and also not associated with ribbon tabs. When controls, you see it according to the context of what item on the page is selected. If a user has a particular function or control, the control may simplify but not be relevant to the selected page. Alternatively, the user may not have granted the level control permission with the site to access the control. In some sites, ribbons may be held by default. For example, in an enterprise search site, the ribbon is hidden on the home page unless you use the select option to show it. The settings menu. When you are on a SharePoint page, the settings icon on the Office 365 toolbar displays an important menu. The settings shared with edit page, add application, site contents, change to look site settings, and getting started Office 365. You'll probably choose two of these items a lot. Site contents for more components of the site and creating subsites. Site settings for more management options. Quick setup titles. When you create a new subsite, the homepage displays a selection of default quick setup tiles. When you're given an access to common setup tasks such as setting a site theme, adding a title or logo, adding users, and adding lists and libraries and other apps, these titles can be removed in selection, customized as required. Note: site homepages made by the site creator do not display quick setup tiles. Like other web parts, they can be added to pages if required. See page 17. The part of getting started with your website is in the media and content category. Alright, the site creator button. If you establish an RM site creator, a button above the search box given the access to the site creator for adding a new subsite page. Setting up and ending SharePoint sites. When recommending the RM site creator, I'll simply time-saving way to set up an educational focused site selection collection create a site. Alternatively, it's possibly to do directly through the SharePoint.